Morning sunshines, there's been a fresh brand new leak. Now this is stuff that does not come from the original Terra leak, I believe. This is a completely fresh leak of internal confidential Game Freak documents, which show a lot of leaked stuff for the Sun and Moon era, as well as a whole bunch of cut things that you're going to hate the fact that they are cut, which includes flying type Eevee, baby Vulpix, and some other things that point towards cut content being reused in later games, which means it's also pretty high hopes, which means that a lot of the stuff that you might see will actually also still be used in the near future. Let's get to it. I think we'll start off with the things you want to see the most. Flying type Eevee. Here's a couple of different Eevee designs from 2019. These are confidential Game Freak documents. These are concept arts of Eevee types. I don't know what the first one's supposed to be. Maybe Steel type. Possibly. And then the bottom one here is the flying type Eevee. Alright. And the main reason why this did not happen, okay, and I know a lot of people have been going on and on about forever, when is there going to be a new Eevee type? This generation there'll be a new Eevee type, etc, etc, etc. Well, there was going to be, folks. There was going to be back in Sun and Moon days. So that's the actual official design, folks. That's what it's supposed to look like. But the reason it was cut in the first place is because it was deemed to be too similar to a fake Mon art style, and they considered that the design would be too costly for them to implement, for whatever that means in terms of costly. All right, we don't know exactly. Maybe reputationally, that's probably what I think they mean. Either way, flying Eevee, and guys, that does not by any means mean that they're never going to do a flying type Eevee or an Eevee of any other type at all. That just means it's being postponed, because one thing these guys love to do is recycle cut content, and we're going to see some of that in more of these leaks. Some more information on the cut Mega Jinx we saw before. This is an official document showing the actual image of Mega Jinx, which was cut for X and Y. This is what she looked like, and we did have that picture elsewhere too. Now, the reason it turns out that that was cut was because of concerns that were around the first stage Jinx that we had before, which was racism, apparently. They were worried that they'll get a whole bunch of controversy around the next one too. So they cut it, I guess. But that, again, does not mean that it's going to be cut forever. It's definitely very likely that's something they might even add in the Legends ZA coming soon next year, which was actually due this year. So there's a delay for a reason. But yeah, it's something that would fit right there in that mega themed game. Of course, we're going to be getting megas all over that game, so why wouldn't they add Mega Jinx into that game of any game, if any game they do? Another huge one y'all want to be seeing is the scrapped pre-evolution version of Vulpix. This was supposed to be a stage before Vulpix, baby Vulpix if you will, and there it is in all her glory. Absolutely cute, very nice coloring to her as well. So that would have been a 3-stage. If they went with that, there would have been a 3-stage added. That would have been insane. That would have been amazing to have. And it may still happen. It's always important to say that it may still be something that can happen in the future. They don't discard these forever. It could be a while. I mean, they might not use it. Of course, they might not use it, but they like to reuse content that they've scrapped. And these are some good ideas. They're definitely going to be gauging the reaction of the community to these things, I'm sure, and they might consider adding them in future games. So maybe Gen 10 even, who knows? This is a rather explosive document, folks. People have been wondering about this since the dawn of time, or that is rather the dawn of Gen 7. And this is Mimikyu, and we know Mimikyu from all the information about him is that it's just a Pokemon underneath a disguise. So what was underneath the disguise after all? Well, it turns out we find that out here in this document. It's this little bulbous thing down here. That is Mimikyu. For real. That is the real Mimikyu. No disguise. As you can see, the disguise discarded here. And then we just get this little bulbous looking thing here. A little ghosty bulb. That's That's the real Mimikyu. You're never going to look at Mimikyu again the same way. I'm sorry, folks. I guess that explains why these little slots are cut into the body here. His head is not up here. He's not able to see up here. And I guess that's also explains its special ability. Its ability that it can take a free hit without taking any damage. It just does damage to the disguise. Body isn't there. It doesn't even hit its body. That's it. So you can see it in comparison to the actual disguise there. It's just up to, like, below its neck. Below its neckline. And so the head is just wobbling around like that. That's cool. Really, really explosive. And that is official, folks. Concept art for shiny Battle Bond Greninja to bless your timeline. Bop. There's a couple of little small images behind my camera right there. All right, so on to more Sun and Moon scrapped content, which is really huge because it has implications for what they did the following gen in Gen 8 as well. And this is something we saw scrapped all the way back in 6 as well, Gen 6. This is custom gyms, all right? Customizable gyms where you, the player, were able to assign the gym leaders up to 8 gyms and earn badges that were customizable. Oh, there was also some other mini games involved here as well, but the main thing, the main shebang was, of course, it being a player-made custom gym with a custom badge and chosen gym leader, which is so cool. Now, that is something similar to what we saw scrapped in a previous video I covered in scrapped for Gen 6. So they actually had something similar in Gen 7. Not exactly the same from what I'm reading here, but it's something similar, and they scrapped it then too. So, Gen 8? No. Gen 9? No. Gen 10? Maybe. Another mechanic scrapped in Gen 7 was cave diving minigame stuff. Diving was something that was added before, however, it wasn't exactly super practical. There was nothing really you could do with it, you just dived. It was kind of like a really primitive Pokemon game stuff. But here we have cave diving, which was specifically something much more in depth, much more in detail, where you'd be riding a Pokemon and doing something. You'd be able to see visually under the water and be able to do some stuff, all right, be able to play mini games, whatever, right? This is pretty sick. They did decide to scrap it, of course, for Gen 7, sadly. All right, so there you have it, something big. Another big thing scrapped. Some shiny Ninetales concept art to bless your timeline. Here's another big scrapped thing, and this was scrapped on so many occasions too, even for an unreleased game that we saw, which was Pokemon Rodeo. You might have seen my video on that. And in Pokemon Rodeo, a completely new 3D riding your Pokemon game, you were able to paint your Pokemon, kind of like these two images of Onix and Pikachu here, where it looked much like that. Not costumes like this. What? Not like this, exactly. But this is an odd dress-up mechanic that was scrapped for Gen 7 for some reason. The odd part is that it was scrapped because they already had dress-up mechanics since Gen 4 here and there. So it was a bit odd that they needed to scrap it for Gen 7. It should be pretty mainstream line now for the games, then something that could be added consistently without issues, without having to scrap them. So I don't know what they were thinking of there, but they did it. They scrapped it. Here is a gargantuan leak drop that was something that was scrapped for Gen 7, and it might look a little familiar if you played Gen 8. Giant Pokemon being battled cooperatively with your friends. It looks like up to 4 from this picture. Yeah. Dynamax raids were a feature for Gen 7, Sun and Moon, and it was scrapped, and then it was re-implemented in Gen 8 instead. The thing is, this is also ties into something that was scrapped for Pokemon Rodeo, which also featured you cooperatively battling against larger, stronger Pokemon in the wild with your friends like this. However, that's very far off of Dynamax raids, because that game was in development. Pokemon Rodeo was in development from quite a while before back as well, like before this even. And so they were just toying with the concept all around the place in Gen 7 and in that game, and they ended up scrapping them both and then using it in Gen 8 as Dynamax raids. Some more images here of a Garchomp version. Jinx is battling with the Garchomp, seems to be targeting the Growlithe. I don't know why they're using a Growlithe against a Garchomp in the first place, but there you go. Pikachu was going to get a fire type version. Not Gen 7 specifically, but Gen 6, as this is something that people were often memeing about, which is Pokemon Z, you know, X, Y, and Z. Why didn't we get a Z, a third option? Well, that was scrapped. It was real, it was happening, it was scrapped. That's there, so Now we're just getting ZA instead. Beta Wishy-Washy to bless your timeline. Some more concept art for that scrapped game Pokemon Rodeo, which, by the way, I did mention in the previous video may still be happening because it was quite an impressive project to just completely scrap. They're probably redeveloping it into reiterations. They retitled it Pokemon Synapse now for a redevelopment version, so we might be expecting that game to come out sometime in the near future. And these are some concept arts of you riding Pokemon here, so it looks like we'll be able to dress up quite well as just ride our Pokemon however we want. Different styles of doing that. Getting burned as well while doing so. That's going to be a tough feat, that ride right there. And then, what? That is something. There's certainly something. Alright, so this is a poster for the next Pokemon World Championships. And a lot of people have been talking about this. Now, I put it towards the end of the video for a reason, because it's quite speculative in this case, because other World Champion posters did not do the same thing I'm about to say, which is that they are displaying the starter mix Pokemon for Pokemon ZA, alright, Pokemon Legends ZA. Which is Chespin here, Fennekin, and Froakie. If you can spot Froakie within the first 10 seconds, I will give you all $1,000. But if you can... I'm memeing. But yeah, it's actually quite hard to find Froakie in this picture. I'll give you a chance to see him, but if you didn't see him yet, there he is over there. He's definitely wearing something. He probably just stuffed his face into that little ice cream Pokemon right there, and got it all over his head. It took me a while to find that Froakie right there. It's like, where's Froakie? But there's loads of Pokemon in this picture. Now, people are speculating those three starters, Froakie, Fennekin, and Chespin, are going to be the 3 starter mix for the Pokemon Legends ZA. I don't know about that myself, buddies. I don't, because they didn't do the same thing with Pokemon Legends Arceus, which doesn't mean they wouldn't do it for the first time for this game. The main problem is they're all starters for Gen 6. It's extraordinarily unlikely that Pokemon is going to give us 3 Gen 6 starters from the same gen for a Pokemon Legends game after what they did with Pokemon Legends Arceus. That would just be such a big change in tune, right? I expect there's going to be 1 Pokemon from a mix of 3 different gens that we're going to get for starters. There's no other way. I can't imagine them doing it any other way. So I personally am not a believer, not yet, in this theory. Centro is very confident, but I don't think that's a good reason to be confident, guys. It's just all 3 Gen 6 starters. And finally, some concept art showing a pooping Pikachu to bless your timeline. And to finish the video off, I think here we'll do some artwork for Beta Pichu, including spiky-eared Pichu and a white version. That would have been a cool shiny, actually, just for a change of pace, actually. There's a spiky-eared Pichu right there. Beta style, some with a hair, some with heart cheeks. That's cute. And there's some more. Some in Roman attire. And there's a person right there. I guess that's one iteration you could get of a Pichu. Who knows? One with a Pokeball on its head. And more different colorings here with the brown around instead of the black. And a very cute little picture right there with the ball on its head there. Nice. So that's really the major highlights of this leak. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and found it illuminating as always. Folks, there's so many things that we could be getting that were cut. The baby Vulpix is a huge one, and I think that's very possible in a future upcoming game. Possibly Pokemon Legends Arceus. It just would make Ninetales at 3-stage. Would be sick. It'd be cool to add some now. And there's a bunch of cool cut stuff, man. There's so many cool cut stuff. But we do notice from the big one, the Dynamax raids, that they are not shy on using that cut stuff again in the next main games. So hang tight, hold on, and we'll see what we get in the next ones, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. Till then, bye.